I want to start with this story today because it really is, it's fascinating. I don't follow Nebraskan politics very intimately. In fact, I don't follow Nebraskan politics at all. My buddy Ross Broccoli lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, and has a farm there, and is making some pretty crazy movies, I think, still. But beyond checking in on his CSA, I don't follow what's going on in Nebraska very much. And you can find that CSA at Broccoli, Brockkley, Ley, Pharmaceuticals, spelt like F-A-R-M, Ceuticals.com, I believe it is. Meanwhile, in Nebraska, on Wednesday, it became the first conservative state in more than 40 years to abolish the death penalty. And lawmakers did this in defiance of their Republican governor, who is a staunch supporter of capital punishment and had labored vigorously for the state to have the ability to kill people. It was a 30-19 vote that cut across party lines. Remember, you need 3/4, right? Or 2/3, I should say, to override the veto, which the governor had attempted to repeal the state's death penalty law. Or I should say, there was a bill to repeal the state's death penalty law. The governor vetoed it, and then his veto was overridden. And without having followed Nebraskan politics, it's hard to know sort of how this developed. But they haven't had an execution since 1997. So this isn't one of those situations where they're feeling embarrassed because they botched the killing of a prisoner. It is, I think, indicative of what's happening across the country, where you're starting to see the one place where conservatives and liberals, and not all conservatives, not all liberals, but where you're starting to see some type of transpartisan desire to reform our criminal justice system. This is one small part of it. The opponents of the death penalty, according to the New York Times, were able to build a coalition that spanned the ideological spectrum by winning the support of Republican legislators who said they believed capital punishment was inefficient, expensive, and out of place with their party values. And then, I guess, along with lawmakers who had religious or moral reasons for supporting the repeal. Nebraska now is the 19th state, also including Washington, D.C., in banning the death penalty. So this is encouraging, if only because now there's 19 more enlightened places in the country in this respect. For me, I don't even know that my efficiency obviously is one element of it, but for me, it's just that I think it's just problematic to say, in addition to it being cruel and sort of uncivilized, I think it's problematic to say that the state, when it's not engaged in a time of war or where no one's life is in danger, you have this criminal, presumably they've been convicted, and they're not a threat to anyone. And you can ensure that they're not a threat to anyone by keeping them in some type of high security situation. Then you're just justifying killing. And once you start down that road, that in cold blood, you can kill someone, if you got good enough reason, well, then I think it's hard to argue that other people's good reasons aren't good reasons to kill in cold blood. That's the simplest way for me to boil it down.